Hey, listen, we in person again. How long has it been since we've had a guest in person? Right?
It's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
It's been a minute.
It's on the first in a while.
You are.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I'm humbled.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy to have
Well,
you.
damn right. This is special. Welcome.
Welcome. Okay, we're here. And you know what's so funny too? Our first live guest, was it also a guy?
It was.
It was a
actually.
guy.
Yeah.
I love that. So listen, on Triggered as Fuck, Triggered AF for those who don't like to curse. I'm not one of those. We always want to make sure that we're including men into the conversation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times women want to have these in-depth, super deep conversations about men.
But don't bring them in.
But don't bring them
At
in.
all.
Mm-mm.
Crazy.
It is. It really
Crazy.
is.
I mean, edit that, but it's crazy.
We're not. We're going to keep that in. We're going to keep that in. I'm just letting you know now.
Yep. Apologies, ladies.
Full
It's
disclosure.
not crazy.
It's totally fine. Y'all crazy too. It's all right. It's just, it is a barrel of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you just have to find the one that your crazy aligns best
Amen.
with.
Amen.
I think that's how we want to do it.
But what if, well, we'll get there.
We'll get it. See, it's
Right.
the dream.
Hold on.
Keep going too fast.
We're gonna ask the
I have to ask
questions.
questions too. I got my notes. My notes.
So, hey, y'all. Welcome to Triggered AF, the podcast. We are here with Brandon, who is such a dope creative. Super excited to have him. Not only, I want to make sure I get it right. Not only is he the founder of Apex, but he is also the head dude in charge over at Live Nation Urban. How you feeling?
I'm wonderful. Vice President at Live Nation Urban, just in case the president sees
President,
it.
my bad, president.
Who the heck, nigga? Like, no, Vice President.
Vice President.
I'm close.
See, we're shifting there.
Almost.
We're shifting.
Almost that nigga.
Okay.
We're shifting there. We're gonna get there. I love it.
So, with someone who has so many titles, like you're
Sure.
multi-hyphenate, professional, creative, who do you say that you are? Because sometimes we have all these titles and all these things that other people call us, but if someone says, "Who are you, Brandon?" What do you say?
I'm Brandon Pankey. I've never been defined by titles. A lot of people love, we love it. We need it. We need to be on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We need to be on Instagram saying, look at me, I'm the new SVP of whatever, fill in the blank. But okay, you're an SVP and 5 years later you're not because you've been replaced or you moved on to something else.
Yeah.
Who are you? Beyond the titles, beyond what you do at your job. So I'm me, and that's why I do it.
Who is that? What is the
I'm multifaceted. I'm a thorough. I think we're all great. I'm a thorough nigga. We're gonna talk about it. I think we all are thorough though, and that's my own philosophy. And apologies for anyone that's atheist or whatever else. But we all have God.
We don't
in us.
apologize for our beliefs.
She stared at the camera. So that's weird. Well,
Okay.
I'm not apologizing for my beliefs. I was just saying for those listeners, I care about your. Anyway, so we all have God in us, and so we're all defined by a certain level of greatness already.
Absolutely.
So that's why I don't necessarily when you say who you are. If tomorrow I wake up and want to be on somebody, own a bookstore on an island, then I'll be the best owner of a fucking bookstore.
Okay.
Black and Noble at fucking
Black and Noble
in Aruba. You know what I'm saying? That's who I'll be. If the day after that I want to host a podcast, you know what I'm saying, with two amazingly beautiful women, then I want to do that as well. So it really, I don't know how to answer that. I'm me, and whatever that is, whatever I exude, I hope people feel your energy. People say your energy, right?
Yes, it tells the truth more than people do.
It tells the truth more than people.
It leads for sure.
Yeah, it really does.
It introduces you before you introduce yourself.
Exactly. It's so funny too, because whenever I'm doing a lot of dating, y'all, a lot of it.
Okay.
We know.
And so
I didn't know.
Our viewers know.
They know. But so I've been doing a lot of dating, right? And so with my dating, I've been, around a bunch of different energies. Mm-hmm. And I know literally 2 minutes after I sit down at the table to have a conversation, or if we're doing golf or whatever it is that we're doing, taking a trip together, I know instantly whether or not this will work. Just simply because of their energy.
And sometimes you don't even need a conversation. You ever just feel it?
Walk and you
next to somebody that ain't
fix it, Jesus.
That's not it. And you feel that. And so, but I think a lot of us, here's another overall issue, with partners, and I got to use me with women or whatnot. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be lonely. right? Overall, we don't want to be lonely. We always want to have someone next to us, or we don't. Motherfuckers want to be cuddled. They want to be held.
We're communal beings.
We are communal.
Biology.
But the problem is, because you don't want to be alone, you make choices just so you're not alone. Versus making choices that's best for you, and then you're wondering 2 years in, 3 years in, why you're unhappy. And it's because you made the wrong choice 2 or 3 years ago.
And here's the thing, it's not that you made the wrong choice, you made a choice that was against what you actually wanted. Like, you were clear on what you wanted. And it's so funny because I was telling one of my homeboys, he was marrying a woman who, her libido was like at a 2. His libido was like at a 12. But he said he loved her. And so I just told him, I was like, hey, I love you. You the homie. She's great. And also, you guys aren't going to stay married very long because that's not sustainable. You are not going to be able to deny yourself. Out of 30 days, she want to have sex 1. Out of 30 days, you want to have sex 28 of the days. That's a 27-day differential.
I'm not great at math, but that don't average out.
The math ain't mathing.
There it is.
The math ain't mathing. And so it was kind of like, what's your plan? Are you guys going to be open? Because I'm a firm believer in let's talk about it. Like, let's have a discussion. As long as you're not trying to sleep with babies and old people who can't consent, let's discuss.
Well, you know, Miss Maggie might be able to consent. It depends on where you. Anyway, so but the issue is with that. Even when you're talking about it, that's 2 really distinct differences. Like 2 and a 12. Even if you talk about it, she's not going to automatically go from once every 30 to 28, and he's not going to say, "No, I'm good with once or twice." It's not going to. It's never going to. So here's what happens: he becomes dishonest, and he potentially will cheat. Or she's just unhappy with him, but matter of fact, it's 2 levels of dishonesty. She's unhappy because he keeps asking her to have sex, and that's not who she is. But they're trying to make it work because
they love each other.
Or we have 5 or 6 things in common. Here's the shit that I had to learn: just because me and a girl like Martin together doesn't necessarily mean that we're supposed to be together. You know what I'm saying?
I think the chemistry is the most important thing. Like, I learned the hard way. Not the most important thing, but it's one of the most important things because I feel like chemistry can't be created. Like, I feel like it's like it's either there or it's not.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And so I've been in a situation where I tried to, like, he convinced me that, like, we can make it happen. Like, we gonna get in the lab and we gonna get in the lab and some all the things and we're gonna figure it out and we're gonna create this chemistry. And I was just like, all right,
you can't make chemistry. He ain't no botanist.
It just and I gave it a shot because I wanted to try something new. I just got my heart broken. I was like, all right, let me try
a little safe guy.
Different. And it ended up being an absolute disaster because it was just like there was just no chemistry. There was just not that feeling. You know, and I feel like that chemistry, when you have that with somebody, that's what helps a lot of times to take you that distance. You know what I mean? When other things may not always be there, it's like, all right, we have something that I feel like I may not be able to just get anywhere else.
But not just chemistry. No, go ahead. What happens?
I was going to ask you, Alicia, you said you're dating a lot, right? Is there someone you're more seriously dating than the other?
Well, absolutely.
All right, so what happens when you're more seriously dating one person, but you've got an incredible amount of chemistry with another person? What do you do then?
I want to keep them both.
Wow.
I want to keep them both.
Okay.
My bad. See, this is why we love bringing men onto the episodes, because the type of conversations, that we have with y'all, it's so dope. We get to, there's so much range.
Next time for the dating episode.
Okay.
That's the one. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like,
nah, you got way more than that offers. Okay.
What I wanted to talk about. All right.
We gonna.
I'm stressed.
Me and you.
Right.
We gonna hop back in and just bring her along. We gonna bring her along. No, tell my boo. She gonna be
I
there.
just tell my
gonna bring her along. There you go.
Sorry.
But no.
Danielle, you're not just there.
I know that.
Exactly. But you know what though? We are talking about that, and that is a form of like change, right? To where you are dating someone, you love them, you enjoy them, you everything, and then you also have this other amazing thing too. So like change literally is the only constant. It is the only thing that maintains itself no matter what else is happening. It's that straight line through. But the crazy thing is we're often like super surprised, and it can even like sometimes be frustrating frustrated by the fact that things are changing.
Yeah.
Like when they come knocking on our door, we like, this ain't it. So like, do you have a way, like, how do you like identify when things are shifting, like when they're coming, and then how do you prepare for them?
Are you saying from a professional level, from a
we want it all.
From any level.
All the levels. Whichever level you feel you resonate with.
So let's go big picture and then we'll go small picture. Big picture, life is about change, right?
Yeah.
The people that you love, that mother, grandparents, parents, at some point, if something else doesn't happen, they're going to leave you, right?
Yeah.
So that's always going to be a big shift and change, but it's going to happen to all of us, right? That's a shared experience that we all have.
Yeah.
Work, right? We have to first identify what we want, which some people don't even identify until they're 40 or, you never know. Like, you never know what you want to do. So how can you, we're talking about those shifts. You have to sort of have a shift within yourself and start to believe more in you. And I think that's the biggest shift that we all have to take.
Like learning to trust yourself.
Learning to trust yourself and trust your instincts and trust what you want to do. Because here's the thing, we're taught, I've got my own sort of madman philosophies in life, but we're taught to be laborers, right? We're, if you really look at it, you go to school from 8:30 to 3.
It's a long time.
So you're already conditioned for years.
For the 9 to 5.
To be able to prepare you for a 9 to 5 job. Yeah. So we're already conditioned to be certain types of individuals. So people are so afraid of the word entrepreneur. They're so afraid of sort of being on their own and doing what they want to do. Hell,
because it's risky.
It's not just that, but it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. We are, to your point, we are scared to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But the greatest shifts in life happen when you're fucking uncomfortable.
Get uncomfortable and your whole life change.
The greatest shifts ever. Greatest shifts ever.
Absolutely.
And so we have to to answer that question, we have to be open to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We have to be open to just experience this fucking life a little bit more. We're so afraid. I know we're all in relationships, but we're so afraid of being vulnerable, of being honest and open. And that's across personal relationships, work. Have you just gone to your boss? Yeah, have you ever gone to your boss like, look, I deserve a $50,000 raise off of everything that I do? Or, hey, I want you to invest in who I am as a person. That could be in romantic relationship. That could be in entrepreneur. Like, I want you to invest in me.
That's what I had my boss do. I was working a job. I did not like the position or where I was going. And I said, hey, I'll give you 3 years if you train me for this certification, but I want you to bring in the best of the best. And I'll give you 3 years, but you have to give me this.
Yep.
But I do the same thing in relationships too. Like, I'll sell pussy, but this ain't free. Like, I'm not investments.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'm so serious.
Right? So that's why I take her to steak market. It's an investment.
No, but beyond the steak market, I can feed myself. If you really do care about me, hey babe, I heard you were talking about this trucking company that you want to start. I bought you a class.
Come on.
I bought you a class, babe. Hey, I know you said you wanted to learn Adobe Illustrator. I signed you up for something. Would you like to go? Or I saw this. Would you like to do it? Make an investment.
But you
raise your hand, sir. Yes, sir.
But dudes want to take care of you, right?
And I get so excited to be taken care of.
I know, but what happens is there are dudes who are, for whatever reason, they're either afraid or they don't necessarily want to put forth into your dream as much, because then it takes away from whatever
the dependency, or it may take away from how much you need them.
Yes.
And men like to be needed in that way.
Well, I promise you, I'm still need you no matter how much money you make. I don't care how rich I am. I love spending men's money. It brings me joy.
Is this a PSA? Is this a commercial?
This pussy is not free, and I love spending your money.
Call now at 555.
Y'all shouldn't put me in the middle of y'all.
It was an ad, guys.
Listen, I just to be clear.
Did you just plug yourself?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Remember,
do however you gotta
listen, get it how you
expensive
live.
pussy and expensive taste.
Private school costs.
Okay.
Private hospitals costs. Private doctors costs. So private parts should not be for free.
Oh, hello.
So let me ask you a question. Do you find it difficult, because you have a daughter? Do you find it difficult to date?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I date better now that I have her than I did before, but I'm also not your typical mom. My daughter is not my world. She never has been. She's not my world. I did not dream of, oh, my life will be complete once I have a kid. That was never me.
So let me tell you, that is something that I just agree with. Because, no, my son is absolutely, I have a son, I have an 8-year-old. My son is my heart.
Love him.
But I can't be a great father if I'm not taking care of myself or nurturing my own dreams.
So I come first.
And so, yeah, I understand what you're saying. It doesn't make you, what happens is, and unfortunately, this is definitely about the sex, right? Yeah. Because dudes can get away with saying, oh, yeah, I'm watching my kid today. Like, nigga, you're not watching your child, it's your child. Like, you should be watching him. Like, it's the bar, here's the bar. Here's the bar for women.
There's the bar for men.
There's no bar. It's so easy for me.
It's on the floor.
It's so easy for me. You just have to be there. I take my son to the mall, I'm a fucking hero.
You are.
I'm a fucking hero, which I respect. Ladies, see me. But I'm a hero.
See you.
But it's just different. I was just curious about it, so I don't want to take away from.
Oh no! It's good that you asked, because there are a lot of women who, and I've got lots of hate for, like, well, how can you be a good mother?
Well, yeah, because for me, it's more of like an internal conflict for me when it comes to trying to figure out work and being a new mom. I do have more of I don't want to say I'm more invested in my daughter, but I definitely have like a very, maybe a little bit of healthy connection to her. But she's still really small, right? She's like 1. But I know mothers that, like, when their babies are 6 months, they're like going on vacation for a weekend. I can't do that. I can't be away from her for any extended period of time yet. I'm not there yet.
And it's okay.
But sometimes you're in a space in your life where you have to figure out how to kind of navigate when you have those internal conflicts, especially when you're being called from great to extraordinary.
Cool.
Oh. And I feel like that is a space that some of us enter in. There's levels, right? But like for you, Brandon, somebody that already has accomplished so much, how do you navigate when you have that internal conflict of being called from, all right, I'm doing great, but how do I get to extraordinary? How do I get to that legendary Walt Disney, Kanye, what, you know what I mean? Like, how do you navigate that? Because a lot comes up there.
Yeah, let me tell you how I navigate that. And this is not bullshit. But one, I don't think I've accomplished too much, and that's my problem. Oh. That's my problem. I don't, and that's why I'm always pushing and striving stuff. Like, I haven't done anything. I mean, okay, you have a great job at a corporate company. Okay. You are on the verge of starting the Apex Artist Presented Experiences as a streaming service launching September 16th.
Oh, hello.
That's
a lot of plugs today.
We own this. This is our shit. We can do what we want. That part.
Can I be real?
Yeah, we like it when it's real.
Because I love y'all. It's women. Women are the reason I can be extraordinary. And I'm not saying that because I'm speaking to 2 women. No, I'm pragmatic with this. Because I have an amazing grandmother who can watch my son when I need to go have a meeting with Phil and a black person. Yes. Because my mother, will watch him. Because
The village.
But my village is literally, I can't depend on my uncle to do it. The village is literally a lot of strong as black women. Yeah. So that's why I am big on black women doing what they want to do, because y'all have always held us down in every fucking facet. And so it is, I sometimes get upset. That's why, I want you to get the money for Adobe Illustrator. You know what I'm saying? Good. Without the PSA. I want you to get get what you need for your classes. You should strive. Danielle, I understand, your struggle. You're like, I want to go from great to extraordinary, but I have this beautiful child that I must take care of. But understand that child will be so proud of you when you do everything that you want to do.
Yes and no. Because so a lot of it for me is growing up, my mom worked a lot. Just ridiculously. Yeah. My mom would go to work at 11 p.m., come home at 7 a.m., take us to school, and be back at work by 6 p.m. She just didn't sleep. She was like a zombie most of the time. And although she was able to provide for us and we didn't ever have to struggle in that way, I really wish that she was more nurturing, and I wish that her time was more invested into us. So for me, it's not just about taking care of my daughter. A lot of it is I have a very specific way in which I want her to be raised.
Yeah.
There's a very specific way there's specific things I want instilled in her that I feel like only I can do, that I know only I can do. Yes, I have a village, and yes, I'm obviously using them right now, but I just feel like it's not enough for me to just take care of her. And to be honest, for me right now, being more successful is not worth that to me.
Yeah.
And that's just where I am. It's not worth the sacrifice of my time with her, the things that I can do for her, because something has to give. You can do it all, but you can't do it all at once.
Well, see, that's where
something has to give.
Well,
and for me, my child is not the thing that I can give right now.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me, I was excited to give it. I'm just being honest. I don't like spending a lot of time with kids. I just don't. And here's the thing, I'm a phenomenal mother. Any person who has ever talked to my daughter, the kid is brilliant.
Yes.
She's brilliant. I take time with her. I speak not just life into her, but like the way she synthesizes as a 12-year-old is better than some grown people I know. Kid is brilliant.
No, she is brilliant. I saw her at Jasmine's Garden. She's brilliant.
Kid is brilliant. But for me, I was miserable being forced to spend so much time. I literally was like, damn, if I just took myself out, I didn't like it. And I feel like as women, you have to acknowledge what is it that you need.
Exactly.
Right.
And be okay with whatever that is. I love the fact that you love Izzy so much that you want to spend time with her. And I also love the fact that I love my daughter so much that I get excited to give her ass to her dad for
and
something.
neither one of you are wrong. And
it's not a
It just depends on what works for you.
But I feel like we get caught in this sort of social dynamic where your opinion will be judged super harshly.
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but it's not right, because there's a bunch of women that feel the way you feel.
Who just won't say it.
That won't say it because they
But I mean, even my dynamic gets judged too, where
I'm about to say,
either way,
you're gonna be a boss woman.
you're damned if you do or you're damned if you don't.
But you know who don't get judged like that?
Men.
Either way, I'm actually in a win-win situation.
As long as he comes home, like that is
eventually,
that is the level.
If I watch my child and I stay with my child, oh my God, he is. Look at him.
He don't even have to feed the child.
As long as I watch him, the pussy gets less expensive. Like, being real. Now, it gets less expensive the more I watch my child. Watch. See, I ain't even saying watch. And then when I say no, I'm focused on my dreams and my goals to provide oh my God, now you're providing for his son.
Yeah.
It's a win-win over here. It doesn't matter what I say.
But you know what I did? I too leveraged an amazing Black woman and Black women. My sister, she moved in with me right before I got divorced. She took care of my daughter the way I took care of my daughter. Like her and my daughter to this day, they are super close. Like she allowed me to be able to, I could get booked for an engagement at 2:00 on a Tuesday and would have to be there 8 a.m. on a Wednesday. And because I had that strong woman in my life, I was fine. I was able to soar and to accomplish the things and make money so that we could then take the vacations that we wanted to take and buy the things that we wanted and also spend intentional time.
Right.
I think for me, I get what you're saying with there's intentional time you want to spend. I had to learn that. But my experience too, yours was great. Yeah. Mine was traumatic.
Yeah, it's different.
And for me, I think how we're talking again, I know we're going off topic.
Oh, it's okay. We've decided. We're just
but it's more of an internal trauma, right? Like there's a part of me, so the mother of my child and myself are not together, and so I have my son, every three days we just go back and forth. We alternate. For me, I'm like, well, my father, who is, be clear, love my dad. He just wasn't, it was, raised. It was my mother, my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? My grandfather as well to a certain extent, but it was my mom and grandma. Yeah. My dad wasn't really around on a day-to-day basis. So here's my trauma. I be looking at him, he's like, well, you got me for 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, you good now. I can, go off on the island.
No.
You have got way more of me than,
that's time.
That's it. Thank you. Triggered as fuck. I'm triggered. I'm a dickhead. Thanks so much. No, I just there's so many levels to this, right? And I again, how do we deal with these shifts? How do we deal with these changes? How do we deal with life? Because again, Danielle, you said something has to give.
Yeah,
something has to give.
Yeah.
And you said, your child is not going to be the thing that gives.
No.
Alicia, you said I need to do what I do.
I'm ready to give.
I'm ready to give.
So it's not a kick out. It's just I love you, and I've always had to kind of bask in a more masculine energy. I just became super feminine because I always handled it.
Right.
I always handled it. I always took care of it. I always paid for it like that. I was hyper independent. And
which is a trauma response.
It is a trauma response, and I also did not like the results I was getting being so hyper independent.
Got it.
So for me, what I have decided is what does balance look like? Like, what does it look like to spend time with my daughter and also go and party because I'm grown and I like shake my ass at the lounge?
Sure.
Like, what does that look like for me to make sure that I show up for your graduation, and also I go on this good trip because I need to make sure I nurture me too. So now it's more of I hate the word balance, but now it's more of I've integrated me back into my life.
And I noticed you brought your daughter. There was a festival that Live Nation Urban produced with the city of Miami Gardens called Jazz in the Garden. That's a Jazz Festival, Jazz in the Garden. And you brought your daughter there. Yeah. And so one of the things that I've also tried to do is start bringing my son with me to certain things so that, he's a part of, because I'm very good at compartmentalizing, which is a problem. But, it's time to start integrating.
Integrate, yes.
Yeah.
That's honestly too, I would bring her with me. My daughter used to sit in city council meetings with me. I would travel with her across the country, across the globe, and bring her into meetings where I'm negotiating things with folks. And she'd be sitting right there. She negotiates now better than I do. I wanted her to be a part of my life. I wasn't willing to give up my life for her.
Correct.
Period.
I get it.
Not willing.
I get both sides. I love it all.
No, I love it too.
I think it's just what feels right for you, and that just and when I've tried, I find myself say I'm home with her, I find myself getting more frustrated when I do have to multitask. Because I just know for me, it doesn't feel good. When we're in a meeting for Triggered and she's there, I'm annoyed that I'm in that meeting. You know what I'm saying? It irritates me. Not she, and then she is also she feels more annoying in that moment because I'm having to spread myself to do something that I do want to do and that I love doing and that I want. So it's an internal conflict.
No, right?
Yeah,
she's super young, but it's just, she's a little bit more independent now. She can go play, she can do things, but sometimes it's I don't like the fact that I do have to kind of spread myself. Yeah, I don't enjoy that. It's not I just feel so determined to figure this out. I don't. I'm doing it because I can and because I'm just talented and gifted enough to do it. So, you know what I mean? It doesn't take that much out of me, but I don't like it. It's not a space that I just love navigating. I just love doing it all. I don't.
You don't.
I don't like doing it all. I want to do some of it sometimes, other times I don't want to do none of it. That's just how I feel right now. Yeah. And I think that's where the main thing about internal conflict is realizing that it's not forever.
No, it's
and it's just
that's the shift.
But that happens sometimes where you sit in internal conflict and you let that define you and define the moves that you're going to make, as opposed to just be okay, this is how I feel right now internally. This is just a passing moment. How can I move through this internal conflict to accomplish what I want to? A lot of times the internal conflict becomes a part of our personality. Now it's okay, well, this is just how I am. I'm just this person that's always procrastinating. I'm always confused. I'm always fucked up. And it's I think that was just a moment that you held on to, a bad relationship. You were supposed to let that moment be fleeting so that you could move forward, but instead you held on to it because internal conflict sometimes can feel like home.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's a you got a drink. I know I'm about to say.
We need some more Prosecco for you. Can we get the Prosecco for him? Woo. He need a little Prosecco. We're going to get you some more of that.
I'm just saying, it can feel.
That was so close, but so far away. We might need Nick to go ahead and assist us with this good Prosecco. Listen, y'all, we having drinks. We are enjoying ourselves.
Shout out to Nick. Nick is doing an amazing job.
He really is. He is so dope. Every single time we film in Miami, Nick holds us down. He's super great, super dope.
Shout out to Nick.
We will make sure we put your information on there so that folks can know who to go to. We just gonna go ahead and bring, but we can't. They not.
All right. You know, Brandon is a busy man, okay, and he gotta go. So let's.
All right. Listen. So then here's my thing too. See, she just be rushing me, child. But so here's the thing too. So because I used to have to bask in a more masculine energy because I was always like taking care of things like financially, I do understand like the pressure that men can, some men, let me clarify, some men can have when it comes to that like additional responsibility to handle things financially. To provide. Like that can be super stressful. And so there are a lot of fears too that come up when you are, let's say, looking to shift because you do want to go from great or phenomenal to extraordinary. So how do you like manage, or what's the process of dealing with the fears that come with, okay, if I make this move and I fail, a whole lot of people are impacted. So how do you deal with that? Like what's that feeling?
And I feel like nobody thinks about that with men. Like it's just assumed that you guys always are figuring it out and have it figured out, especially if you're already successful or you already seem to have your shit together. And it's like, but how many men are like, I mean, so men statistically commit suicide way more than women do, right? Especially in their 50s. And a lot of them happen to be very successful men that end up offing themselves.
Pressure.
And sometimes I wonder if it's because they didn't get to dream big enough, you know? So I'm just saying onto that question, like I always think about that. Like I try to be a little bit more conscious of it when we try to push our men, because I think as Black women, we're a little pushy. So
I think that's an all woman thing. That's not just Black women, that's an all woman thing.
It's just the way y'all say it. It's a little different than the other races. I agree with you, it's all women.
But you know,
I have, and again, I use God because it's the truth. I have such an enormous amount of confidence in myself. And one of my friends said to me, like, why the fuck do you believe in yourself so much?
That's a great question. I was gonna ask her, but where does that come from?
Who else?
Who will tell me I can't? But honestly, and this is, it
won't check you, boo.
It stems from. I went to University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League, whatever, it was a firm event. They stuck me in. So
no, they didn't.
Oh, they didn't. I don't know.
You deserve.
Okay, I didn't know. So I went to the University of Penn, and so when you have that sort of expectation, it's doctor, it's lawyer, it's certain sort of job that you want to do. And I said, well, no, I want to be in the music industry. And so it was a younger time, but my mom's gonna kill me. But there's an email that my mother sent me June 5th or June 6th, 2006. And in the email, it was, hey, that's great that this music thing is a hobby, but you've had to borrow money, you haven't done, what you need to do. Why weren't you just a doctor? It was a long
she was going in.
Yeah, I printed out and I held on. I look at it once a year because I'm crazy.
It's the fact that you printed it out for me.
Oh, absolutely. I look at it once a year.
You're like, I don't remember this.
I did. I said, I'm going to remember this because...
It's also because it's petty. It's a little petty.
It's a lot petty. But I'm going to let you have it.
Go ahead.
It might be petty, but no, because I remember 2 years after that when she was in a picture with Jill Scott. And I remember how proud and how happy she was to be in that moment and how many tickets her and everybody else be getting in the family now. But
she never would have had that moment had you decided to be the doctor she wanted you to be.
I could have easily made a shift. I could have easily, but that shift would have been out of fear, it would have been out of comfort, it would have been out of love or what I wanted to do for myself. So there are shifts that can be made. That's the other thing we didn't want to talk about shifts. People make shifts out of comfort or out of what other people what they think other people want from them, but they don't make shifts for themselves. So I had interned for free for 9 months after graduating Ivy League institution. Was getting on the bus. It was really 8 Mile, Get Rich or Die Trying. That's all kinds of all the tropes. BETD movies, all of it. It was all of it. you gotta believe in yourself. I said I'm going to do this shit. Like, and
no matter what
happens, I'm going to do it. But you also, it's not just I'm going to do it in a light switch. You have to actually work and do the shit. That's the other part. A lot
you gotta do that shit.
You got to actually do the work and be willing to do it. A lot of people will quit because they worked hard for 3 months and say, this didn't happen for me, so I move on to something else. And I'm very tunnel vision. I've always been tunnel vision on things that I want.
And sexy.
I'm never going to not do what I said I'm going to do. I'm never going to not do it.
Yeah.
I play the long game very well. I play the long game very well. So it's cool, it's cute. What you said or what you said it's not happening now. It will happen. And everything that I said will happen has manifested so far.
Listen.
And I think it's so important when you're talking about doing the work and just making up your mind, because sometimes when we're talking about those internal conflicts and those emotions that come over you that may cause doubt or cause fear or make you feel like you're not enough, those will cripple you to the point where you won't do it. So maybe the biggest part of navigating internal conflict is just realizing that once realizing that it's just a feeling and it doesn't own you and it doesn't really mean anything.
It's a moment.
It's just a moment. Yeah, like the moment your mom had, like that. It felt real. It feels like this is the rest of my life. Yeah, like it feels like that's it.
90% of those. You know where 90% of those internal conflicts come from?
Other people.
The people closest to you.
The one. My mother said the same thing.
That's the word. That's your mother. Like your mother has enough over you to be like, okay, I'm not gonna do this no more.
Yes.
And sometimes the people in our lives, I don't think they're even aware of how much power they have over you. And it's not because they're trying to be mean but I don't even think they realize that they're that important to you.
And I think too, so that's why Sheryl Sandberg, and I don't know if she was the first, but I heard it from her first, and I truly do believe that's why I'm so selective about who I choose to be my partner now. I already fucked it up the first time. I ain't doing that no more. Who you choose as your partner is the most important decision you could make after who you choose to be your child's parent. Period. To me, the parent is the first one because, dear God, you ain't gonna necessarily marry people.
That's really important.
That's the most important. Who you choose to be the parent to your child, but who you choose as a partner.
You don't necessarily choose sometimes. Sometimes you think it's gonna last 5 minutes and then it lasts 3.5. So what happens is you didn't pull out. You don't always choose. Drink something.
Maybe you should. But maybe you should be more cautious. Maybe you should be more cautious.
Oh yeah, wrap it up.
Yes.
Yeah. All absolutely. Let's prevention on the poor guy.
Exactly.
That's right. Message.
Exact message. But it really is who you choose to be your partner, who you choose to allow to speak into your life. It determines how far you will go. Like, period, point blank.
But there are people that, and again, it's coming out of love from a lot of people. They just don't understand.
They want to protect you.
Unaware,
somebody's like, damn, you still interning and not making money?
Mind your business.
Like, that's like one of my friends that I've known 30 years. I've been friends with this person. That's like my brother. Yeah. But he said it, but he didn't say it like maliciously. No. He was just saying like, yo, what are you doing? Like,
Well, they think they're trying to help. Like when we spoke about the narcissist, and remember we were talking about the episode we had with McKinney Smith, and we were talking about how women can be in these abusive relationships and their family members help keep them there out of this idea that it must be them, or he couldn't possibly be like that because he's so charming, he's so handsome.
That was my mother.
Possibly smack you in the fucking face. And
it was my mother.
And it's a thing where people will keep you small because the smaller you are, the more comfortable you are for them.
My mother literally told me, my abusive ex-husband, she told me, well, Alicia, what are you doing? Because she said, well, you know how you are, first of all.
So let me just say this, and this is for the camera. This ain't even for this. Niggas should not hit women.
And women should not hit
men. And women should not hit men. No one, but when you have a level of abuse, again, this comes from dishonesty, this comes from something in a relationship that neither party is getting. Yeah. And so it's like, if you get to that point, I don't care what the mama's saying, with the grandma, look, y'all gotta, that's it. Because if you're getting to a physical point with your partner, the person you love and you're committed to, and for better or worse, which we forget about when we're
the worst part.
The worst part.
And it's a lot of that part.
It's a lot of worse.
We talk about for better. We love for better.
Oh yeah.
We love for better.
That's it. That's
it. That's all we
like. We don't necessarily think, and that's in life when we're talking about shifts, we don't actually think about the or worse in life. Not even talking about relationships or worse. Yeah. Because bad things happen. There are moments, this life don't always just do that. It's never.
That's actually perfect because that's the next question. Like,
have you done
this before? No, because a lot of times when people people see successful people, we only see that, especially now on social media, all you're looking at is the highlight
Only the
reel.
highlights.
And especially when you've been doing something for a very long time, they just think that, oh, you have it figured out.
Yeah.
So we wanted you to walk us through, because you talked about interning for free for 9 months. So we wanted you to walk us through some of your highest highs and your lowest lows and how they've kind of molded the man that you are today.
I don't have lowest lows.
You don't have
Really?
No. See, this is what all right. This is, I guess, this is part of the
Walk us
mentality.
through it.
This is part of the
Talk
mentality.
to it.
I don't have lowest lows because you learn from every day.
But you ain't never had a moment where you just in a room, it's dark, and you crying, and you crying.
I mean,
and you
lowest
have a
lows. Okay,
bottle.
we're gonna talk about it. It's relationships.
Yeah, we gonna talk about it.
The stuff that I'm not great at.
Oh, you're not?
I don't know. I mean, I'm incredible at work. You want to know why? Because work is A plus B equals C. If you do the work and you do it right and you're effective at what you do in
There's a
your
formula.
relationships, you are going to
talking
achieve.
about this.
You're going to achieve.
Yeah.
In relationships, you are
many
dealing
variables.
with emotions of the other person times your emotions, and if they clash, if they match, and what happens, how they feel on a Tuesday versus how you feel on a Tuesday, it will create an environment, which is, and so it's harder.
Yeah.
Relationships are way harder than work. It's just fucking. Let me send you an email and we'll touch base, and you follow up and just say words and buzzwords, and then you fucking have a meeting. Like, who gives a fuck? Yeah, I'm on Zoom. Like, whatever. Like, relationships, and that's why I think when we're talking about that. No, it's the truth. Like the relationships. We're talking about highs, lows, lows. For real, that's all we should be talking about.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in these journeys of work and life and shit, right? And that's cool because we love money. We love paper. We love it. It's a good fucking time.
Oh,
People that say, let me be clear. It's not a good time when you got the all inclusive because that's all you can get. It's not a good fucking time when you can't get off that fucking resort. I'm being real with you. If you can even get to the resort.
Yeah.
And let's be real again. And again, we have a lot of systemic and a lot of things that we deal with from an economic perspective.
Absolutely.
We're about to enter into another recession. There are a lot of reasons why and I say we black people because it is more difficult for us on a lot of different levels. That's why I don't, for that, relationships. My lowest lows come from relationships, and they come from my choices. They come from choices of being dishonest. They come from choices of not being open and communicative with your woman because you're afraid of what she might say or what she might think, which isn't fair to her or to you.
Yeah.
And so that comes with, men mature quicker. Women mature quicker than men. And so that comes with, you didn't have to. I corrected myself. That being a man is more mature.
Absolutely.
So that comes from, it's a level of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
That's what's difficult. Gaining emotional intelligence for a man, I think, is very difficult. And without that, that's where we get into lowest lows. Work shit, y'all, again, this is just my own overall thing.
Yeah.
We gonna be all right. Like, the one thing about us, I've never seen a group of people persevere the way that we have. We have a 400-year, or white people have a 400-year head start on everything, and that's why they own. That's why they own everything. And so we're still fighting to be in C-suites. But fuck the C-suite, because we have the creative economy in the United States is because of us.
We are the
greatest export.
We are the culture.
We're the greatest import into this country, and we provide the greatest export out of this country.
Yeah.
And so we have to start recognizing that. And we're so, again, but we love being in systems. We love being in systems. We love having shit.
Well, we're conditioned that way.
We're conditioned to be in systems. That's all of us too. That's everyone.
It's a human thing.
That's a human thing. We're conditioned to be in
Like
systems.
community, folks like systems.
And that's why COVID was so interesting. Because what I noticed,
We created systems in COVID.
we did, but people out of COVID, if you notice, a lot of people didn't return back to their former positions. A lot of people, took some PPP money and got some great Louis Vuitton products. God bless them. But a lot of people started thinking for themselves.
Not Louis Vuitton.
Started LVP. Started thinking for themselves. It's just been interesting watching people sort of evolve. And so
it has been. I think about that too all the time when it comes to COVID, like how
it was shifting.
Talking about shifts. Yeah, and I think it was unintentional. If you're like a person who believes that stuff like that is somewhat orchestrated or it's not as happenstance as it may seem, it seems like maybe it backfired a little bit because people are like, well, hold up. Like,
I had to do that.
this?
You don't have to do it.
Yeah, like why are we going? And then you start asking like very common sense questions that you're wondering why you weren't asking a decade ago. Like, why are we going in the office
every day?
This? Like, I can do this at the house,
and I can spend more time with my kid.
Yeah,
or I can go outside and take a walk. Now, mind you, I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years at this point, so I've been working from the house, and I don't like offices. So my teams have always been.
I was working from the house before COVID too, and I was just like, yeah, y'all, get over here.
Come on.
We got cookies.
It's good over here. We got juice too.
Cookies and juice.
Come have you some.
And these drinks. So like, but no, and kudos to being an entrepreneur too, because understand we're talking about systems. Entrepreneurs, you gotta submit your demand, and then you gotta wait 30 to 45 days. And versus being salaried, and again, this is a different salary. You know, every week or every 2 weeks
when it's coming,
you're getting direct deposit. You know what's happening, so I understand.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, I'm saying I understand why we stay in this. Comfort is a beautiful thing, but you're never going to get to your extraordinary that you talk about. You will never. I put everything I got on that.
Yeah, and I think, and it's so interesting that so many of these gurus and self-help people, they're making it seem like there's something magical that's
it's not magical
for you to become a millionaire, for you to become whatever it is you want to become. And they all know and have had, and they know the formula, and they're just plugging and playing, and they're selling you like something that seems like so mystical and so magical, and it's just like, it's just, are you gonna do it or not? Like that's literally the difference between
is you is or is you ain't.
Yeah, that's the difference. It's okay, are you going to go there? Are you going to do it? Are you gonna open up your mouth? Are you gonna start the podcast? Are you gonna start your business? Are you gonna, and that's literally, that's the difference.
And 90% of people don't.
They do not. And for me, I always say your life is a result of the choices that you have had the courage to make. Do you trust you enough to go after what you say you want? Do you trust you enough to decide that yes, this is comfortable, and also and also I'm going to use the income from this. Go enjoy. I'm going to use the income from this to feed the other things that I want, and also I'm going to ask and say, hey, I need help, or I need more training on this.
Correct.
The reason entrepreneurship is so much harder is because you literally have to build the plane while you are also flying in it and preparing to jump out of it, because you have to consistently launch.
Yeah, and there's feelings of I can't do it enough, and we just have to move past those feelings and realize that it's not, those feelings are not going to always be there. So move through those feelings and realize that, hey, I still gotta get this shit done. I'm annoyed as hell and a trigger to fuck me, but I'm just like, hey, I gotta be in this fucking meeting. I want this podcast to do what it needs to do.
And I schedule lots of meetings.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. But the thing is that it doesn't matter how I feel all the time. You know what I mean? It's
that's
what I have to do.
And commitment.
Exactly.
So are we saying that all shifts, the only shifts that matter are internal?
No,
there are shifts on the outside.
There are external shifts that are going to impact you that you have to take into consideration.
For sure.
But I think that your internal is going to affect how you respond to the external shift.
But that's why I'm saying that.
So then it's primary.
I'm saying your internal shift. If you have shifted or made shifts or changes within yourself, those external shifts actually, do they really matter? Because you are better. You are more ably prepared to do things. That's why I'm arguing that as long as you can continue to shift in positive manners that for you, external shit won't actually matter.
That's so true. In that book that you sent me, the Creating Money book,
best book ever, y'all.
Yeah, I'm actually reading it. You've sent me books before, and I'm like, this one.
Damn.
I love to learn, y'all.
Even this one, I was a little skeptical because it was talking about some
what's it called?
Shit. Creating money.
Creating money.
I don't know why we're plugging them. Are they giving us a check?
But it's okay. We can get checks.
Okay, I'm kidding. We believe in abundance over here. But no, it's a book about creating abundance, creating money, and there was like a part in the book where they're talking about how if you can change your perspective, if you can get your mind right, things like recessions, things like diseases, things like that don't affect you the same way because of the way you're viewing the world. And a lot of times we're just so stuck in our own view, and I don't even know if it's rose colored anymore, because I just like some people have some fucked up views of the world.
just dark.
It's just dark, yeah. And I was like, oh wow, this is what I needed to kind of see, because there's a lot of fear mongering on social media,
That's why I don't watch
on
the
TV,
news.
with your family members. It's just like you don't even know sometimes like what the reality is, because it's like you see all this stuff on the news and it's like that's not my experience in the real world. So why are they making it seem like that is what's happening all the time when that's not what we're actually experiencing? But because it seems so real, it starts to confuse you and make you think that is what's going on.
And then you create it.
Yeah.
You create it.
You help them. Yeah, you help them.
You literally create it. On some real stuff, my mother is one of the most unhealthy people I know in all the land. On this side of the Jordan River.
I'm drinking for a second. Excuse me.
I love her. And she's also one of the most unhealthy people I've ever known. Okay. I started working with her mentally to create your external world based on your internal, right? Yeah. And so she's an RN. So she's worked with COVID patients the entire time. I mean, the entire time. And I was just telling her, I am not at all saying that it doesn't exist. It does. And, sending much love and peace and everything to those who've lost folks. And also, I told her, you're going to need to, because you are so unhealthy, you're going to have to change some shit that you're doing as far as what you're eating. And also, you're going to have to fortify your mind and your energy so that you aren't bringing it home.
Or can we just have a plan? Like, can we bring back planning into the world? People don't have a plan anymore. Like, can we just okay, hey, there's a disease out there. Like, what can I do to prevent this? I can go outside and get some vitamin D. I can drink my water. I can exercise. Like, there are options, but it's like, now I'm just going to sit here and see what happens. Like, let's have a plan in place. And yes, every plan is not going to, but it's just some kind of preparation so you can operate in a world of prevention, not the cure. It changes your entire life.
I agree.
When you can kind of understand that you have the power to control. So take your power back a little bit and just plan a little bit. It just changes everything.
It does. And now we want to get you out of here because we know you got some dope stuff that you got to do. Yeah. So our very last thing, we want all the deets. Not all of them, you may not have the time. But like, what are like some of the most like exciting projects that you're working on? We know September 16th.
Apex.
Where can we go? Like, what is it?
Yes. Apex.
Yes.
So Apex.
You saw how you lit up this
that's because that's what we're talking about. Love what you do. Artist presented experiences. Hold on, because this is live right now. Let me call you right back. I'm calling you right back. That's why we gotta wrap this up soon.
Exactly.
But no, Apex. Artist presented experiences. It's a streaming platform for artists. It is Netflix for musicians. If 50 Cent wanted to, if there was no power on Stars, it would live here. Like anything artists want to create, produce, star in, it would all be really focused on artists. And I'm combining my love of the music industry from my love for content, right? And I looked, I've had this idea since about 2013. It's really about belief in individuals. He's in the news right now, but Vince McMahon in WWE, if you could start a damn pro wrestling streaming service that had $9.99 a month, they had 1.2 million subscribers.
You listen.
At $9.99 a month for pro wrestling. Yeah. Why the hell haven't we done something like that for
it's a butter for every bread, and I am so excited.
It's a butter for every bread, and this is organic. This is cream, churned. Churned butter. Sea salted. And so it's
with a kosher salt.
With a kosher, if you will.
Kosher salt.
No, this is real. This is real.
I'll live.
So
yes.
But no, it's we have some great content. We partner with Radio Issa Rae's record label for our artist interview series. Mark Lamont Hill for another series. We have Sean Famoso from LBRN, which is Summer Walker's label. They have a series on here, and it's scripted, it's unscripted, it's documentaries. It's
I love it.
I got an Amy Winehouse doc, I got a Tupac doc, I got a bunch of things on here that we're gonna grow and scale. I'm working on content every day.
I love watching how excited you are. I love watching men dream and actually take that idea that they have and make it a reality. So where do we go? How do we support? Let the folks know how do they stay connected so we can go back to
go to www.watchapex.com. It launches September 16th. It's an AVOD. It's going to be free for you to watch to start. So just watch it and enjoy it, and
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens.
And where can we stay connected with you?
Jesus.
Are you on the socials?
I knew the question. I had a script.
just making sure.
At Brandon _Pankey on Instagram and at bpank on Twitter.
Okay.
That's it. That's where and go to @WatchApex and start to follow that as well as we start to build that. But this has been incredible. You two are phenomenal.
Thank you.
What you're doing is not triggering as fuck. It's helpful as fuck. And we appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See y'all next time.
We gotta tell the people they can stay connected with us.
Oh yeah, my bad. See, I was
Just excited.
I was excited.
You can't have no more of these.
So where can we stay connected with you, Danny?
You can stay connected with me at Miss Danny Foster on Instagram. I don't tweet my Twitter. You can go to my website at DannyFosterCoaching.com, and you can go to the Triggered Instagram at TriggeredAFPC and TriggeredAF.com. TriggeredAFPodcast.com.
Yes, and you can find me everywhere on Beyonce's internet at Alicia Reese.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you got the laughs and the gems, and we are just so honored that Brandon was able to grace us with his presence.
Thank you.
And enjoy this episode. Share it with your friends, share it with your mama, share it with everybody so that they can learn how to grow through those shifts and become the best version of themselves. See you guys next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Triggered AF. Remember, don't be consumed by your triggers. Confront it and then work to release it. Whether you leave us more triggered than you came or you're feeling like you've been open to a new perspective, our hope is that you've grown. Make sure to share this episode with a friend who's trigger happy and tag us while you're listening. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next week, pull it together, girl.